Hi, thanks for coming on. Andy speaking. Friday, 6th of September, 5:27 is the time. It's a wet day, isn't it? It's heading towards that time of year. Not a lot to go at this week. We got nothing in Scotland, and we've got League 2, majority of a coupon, and League 1, and National League North, National League South. There could well be some business tomorrow. I'm probably going to do what I've done last Saturday when I sent those bets over to members at lunchtime, because the reason why I think team news is such an important thing, especially at that sort of lower level football. So I do like to try to find out as much as I can. So for members, there'll be an additional email for any bets in the national leagues. I mean, I don't know. I might hear something about this game, for example. I don't know. But as I say, national league stuff I'm going to do on a Saturday, and I think we've had 3 from 3 in the National League South, and that's the way I like to keep it. And again, all of those have been late, so no need to put them out tonight. We'll email tomorrow for members. Right, League 1. 3 games. Barnsley versus Bristol Rovers, 50-28-22. Barnsley 7th, 1-2 drawn 1, lost 1. Lost at home to Mansfield on the opening game of the season. Since then they've won 2 on the road, drawn 1 at home to Northampton. Probably not the best home form, I have to say. Bristol Rovers, exactly the same form as Barnsley, 1-2, drawn 1, lost 1. But both of their wins have been at home against Northampton and Cambridge. They've got turned over at Stockport, drew 0-0 at Rotherham. I think the 0-0 at Rotherham's pretty good form. Ratings say Barnsley should win. Odds on, not for me. I think Barnsley are well underpriced. It's a game to stay away from. Charlton against Rotherham, 50-24-26. Now, there's 0.3 in Charlton. I'm going to back them. I didn't want to. I'll be totally honest. When I went through this, I thought I don't want to back against Rotherham, but we've had our hand forced, really, haven't we? When I put Charlton in at evens, and before I sort of looked at the prices, I thought, I reckon they'll be around evens, but they're 13-10, which is sort of forcing us into a bet. I don't like to oppose Rotherham because if you remember at the start of the season, we had them in, were they 2nd or 3rd on the figures behind Birmingham and Huddersfield? I can't remember. But anyway, Charlton at home, they've beaten Bolton, Leyton Orient, Wigan on the road, lost on the road to Reading. Reading are the only team to score against them. So it doesn't matter what I think. It's all dictated to by this, and there's 0.3 in them at 50%, and we have to do it. Rotherham, look, let's hope they've got the wheels back on. Lost away at Exeter, lost away at Wickham, and if you're going to get turned over at Exeter and Wickham, you ought to be getting turned over at Charlton. At home, they've drawn with Bristol Rovers. They beat Huddersfield, but I think they were quite lucky to beat Huddersfield. The report I read, Huddersfield had a man sent off as well. But look, I know at the end of the day, Rotherham, I would be absolutely astounded if they don't make the top 6. If you said to me at the moment the top 6, Birmingham, Huddersfield, Rotherham, I think will make up half of it. Stockport and Wrexham are 1st and 2nd. Not so sure both of them will stay the course. But I do think both of them have certainly got playoff potential, without a shadow of a doubt. We'll come to them in a minute. But anyway, there's 0.3 in Charlton. You have to make the bet. Wrexham at home to Shrewsbury. People say I slate Wrexham. I don't. I speak honestly. It's just that they're never a backable price. I was very, very, very impressed last week, and there's absolutely no getting away from it. The last 2 performances are performances of a side that is going to be here at the business end. I think in all honesty, I do think they're way behind Birmingham and Huddersfield. I do. I mean, playoffs, certainly capable of it if they're going to continue to show the form they've done. 3-0 at home to Reading last time out. Sorry, the last home game. A 2-0 win at Peterborough last weekend, and I didn't see that coming. And Huddersfield got a 2-0 win at Peterborough opening game, and I remember saying to you guys on here, they've laid down a marker, and I think that is a marker from Wrexham. I just don't see Wrexham in the same bracket as Huddersfield. That's all I'm saying. They're at home to Shrewsbury tomorrow. They've lost both games on the road, away at Huddersfield and Stevenage. They got thumping 4-1 at home to Peterborough. They've beaten bottom club Leyton Orient 3-0 last week. I can only see one winner in this game. I think Wrexham ought to hose up, if I'm honest. I mean, just through the Peterborough game, Peterborough stuffed Shrewsbury 4-1. Wrexham beat Peterborough 2-0. If you just want to take that game at those two games at face value, Wrexham win this easily. I do think they'll win it easily anyway. So, all home sides really in League One, but the only one that's got some value in is Charlton, and we will be back in them. Oh, and before we get stuck into League Two, I cannot believe the news I saw yesterday about Blackpool giving the job to Steve Bruce. It made me cringe. From a footballing point of view, I had hoped we'd seen the back of the kebab chomper, but I don't think we haven't, because he's in at Blackpool. I think that is an absolute unmitigated disaster. He is a dinosaur. I know when he was manager of Birmingham City, and I know this absolute first hand via Darren Anderton, Steve Bruce's last words to Birmingham, no matter who they played, they could have been at home to my Hartlepool, an absolute garbage team. The last words that would be in the players' ears ringing from Steve Bruce: don't get beat today, lads. Don't get beat today. Nothing positive, all about not getting beat. I'm furious. Blackpool have decided to overlook Pete Wild and appoint Steve Bruce. What happened to Bradford when they appointed Mark Hughes? And the same thing's going to happen here. Bradford, sorry, I'm absolutely gutted, because I thought Pete Wild was nailed on for that job. I really hope it comes back to bite Blackpool on the backside, and it will do, because unless he's gone away and read a modern football book, but I don't see it. More likely kebab recipes for him. Barrow Swindon 50-24-26. Barrow, I think it's a false position. Okay, I'll tell you why it's a false position. They're third. They've beaten Port Vale, Crewe, Harrogate, all teams in the bottom third. They got turned over at Carlisle 1-0 that's their only defeat. But I think the wins have been against poor sides. Swindon sits second bottom, so it's not like I'm saying to you Swindon are a great side, but I think we've got to look at Swindon's home form. Lost at home to Walsall, lost at home to Notts County. They're second and seventh. 2 draws on the road at Crewe and Chesterfield. Would I want to back Swindon? I would. Obviously, if I was going to have a bet in this game, I'd bet Swindon. I don't think Barrow should be odds on. Right, Bradford Carlisle 60-23-17. Again, here you go. You've got a bit of value in Bradford, and a sexy rating. We had this the other week with Salford, didn't we? It's up to you. I'm not doing it this week. They'll probably hose up now, but I'm prepared to give it a miss. And I wasn't impressed last time. The defeat at Grimsby, I think. I didn't like the draw at home to Salford. The win at MK Dons and the home win against Bromley, yes. But again, I just think it's the old inconsistency thing with Bradford that's going to hamstring them. They ought to be winning this tomorrow. I mean, they've not lost at home. I don't think they'll lose for 1 minute. But it's hard to gauge Carlisle, if I'm being totally honest. They got a 4-1 thumping at Gillingham and a 3-0 beating at MK Dons. Two sides I think that are definitely sort of promotion contenders. They beat Barrow at home, which sort of what I said to you a while ago about Barrow's level. But the home defeat at Tranmere last time out doesn't read well at all. And they've scored 2 goals all season, and I did say at the start it was going to be a problem for them. No, sorry, they scored 3 goals. Sorry, I'm doing them a disservice. But again, 3 and 4 is just not good enough, and they've shipped 9. I think Bradford ought to win this easily. Whether they do or not remains to be seen, but I'm not taking 3 to 4 with 0.09 in it to find out. Cheltenham, Harrogate, 43-24, 33. Not a game where... Okay, I'm not going to... With Cheltenham, you can look at it 2 ways. Again, they've only played sides in the top half of the table, and it's something which obviously I like to see, but I just think it might be a little bit early to start talking that way. They've beaten Newport, who are 4th. They've lost to 2nd place Walsall, 6th place Wimbledon, 11th place Grimsby. They've lost 3 on the spin. That has to be a concern. Harrogate, we're having a point on Harrogate, and I'll tell you why we're having a point on Harrogate. When I'd done it and I put them in at 2 to 1, I thought, yeah, I'm not really interested in Harrogate. And I saw it was 27-10. I thought 0.7, yeah, I'm interested. I went back through. They've won at Colchester, drawn at Accrington. Both of their defeats have been at home to Bromley and Barrow. Fingers crossed they can keep that trajectory up. And if they do, I think 27-10 is a huge price against a side that's lost 3 out of 4. But as I say, I am mindful that Cheltenham's defeats have all been against teams in the top half. But the 1-0 win at Colchester reads well. It certainly does. Harrogate 27-10 will do for me. Chesterfield Grimsby 55-24 21. I think, as I said to you, didn't I? I think Chesterfield will feel it this season. I laid them at the start of the season to win the league. They got turned over at Gillingham last week, and we were on Gillingham at 17-10. I thought it was a massive price. They won at Crewe, and they've drawn at home to Swindon and Salford. They're 12th, lost against Gillingham, are in the top half. The other 3 sides have been in the bottom half. I said at the start of the season, I'm not a huge fan of Chesterfield. They're mid-table. I think they'd be anywhere between sort of 7th and 13th. That's where they are in for my money. They're against the Grimsby side tomorrow that have lost both on the road at Fleetwood and Notts County. Grimsby have won both at home. You'd expect Chesterfield to win. Would I want 4 to 6? Absolutely not a chance. Colchester Bromley 44 31. Excuse me, I felt Colchester were mightily short for this. There's 2 ways of looking at Colchester. You could look at it and say, well, they beat MK Dons here 2-0. That's cracking form. They lost 1-0 here against Harrogate. That's a worry. Really is. Bromley started well. Bromley won the first 2, have lost the last 2, turned over 3-1 at Bradford and 2-1 at home by Crewe. I don't like the 2-1 reverse against Crewe. They won at Harrogate, who I've said aren't a great side at home. The other win was at home to Wimbledon. There's 0.2 in Bromley. It's not enough. If I wanted to bet in this, I would have to back Colchester, but I can't, purely because there's just nothing at all in the price. Excuse me. So let's go down to the next section. Crewe versus Morecambe. 18th against bottom, isn't it? I mean, Morecambe have lost every game. Crewe at home have drawn against Swindon, thumped 5-0 by Chesterfield, won at Bromley. But the one thing that would... there's 0.7 in Morecambe, which is good. I would back it, but the one thing that does worry me, more than worries me, is they've lost every game. But not only that, Crewe, I think, have turned a corner. Got turned over at Barrow, then got a thumping off Chesterfield, but they've drawn with Swindon and beaten Bromley. I just wonder whether they've come into the season a smidge undercooked, and we're now starting to see the real Crewe. The one positive, well, I'm not going to say it's a positive, very hard to make a case, very hard, isn't it, to say be positive about a side when they've lost 4 on the spin. But here's who they've lost to, and bear in mind, every game has been 1-0. First place Gillingham, second place Walsall, 4th place Newport, 5th place Doncaster. They've lost all games 1-0, and every game has been against the top 5. So it's impossible. You can look at it and say, oh yeah, Morecambe are bottom of the table, they're crap. Go and look at who they've played. They've played the top 5 and lost every game. Wonder how Crewe would have gone against them. So you've got to look at it sometimes, guys. That could be massive. It's just not for me. I mean, I know they've lost against those good sides, but for me, confidence is a big thing in football. If they lost all 4 games against somebody placed 13th, 14th, 16th, and 18th, I would be concerned. I'm not overly concerned because it's the top 5, but it's still a confidence issue. But there's 0.7. I might back it myself. I'm going to chew it over tonight and see. 3-1 winners are hard to find in outright football matches, and that is what we've got here. Doncaster Gillingham 47-25-30. Only one bet for me in this match, and that's going to be Gillingham. Doncaster, I do not get all the hullabaloo and all the fuss and all the talk about Doncaster winning the title. Sorry, I don't. They've won 3 games out of the 4. Teams placed 17th, 22nd and 24th. They've played one top team. They got turned over 3-1 at Newport. They're playing a team tomorrow that are unbeaten all season so far. They've won 3, drawn 1. We make Gillingham 23-10. 17-5 is available. There's over a point in them. That's massive. If I'll tell you now, if this was a full coupon, and I had, I don't know, 6 or 7 other bets to maybe cover this one in case, I will be going 2 points on this, purely because of that. That is, to find a team with over a point in them that is unbeaten, top of the table, pretty much unheard of. There's massive, massive value in Gillingham. Have yourself a point. I'm not saying they'll win, not at all. I mean, that there is wrong. I know that should be 7. That is 130 in it, 23%. So that should be 70% chance they won't win. 70%, but you're being paid more than enough to take that chance, and we're having a point on them. MK Dons at home to Walsall, 47-24-29. I'm going to back MK Dons, going to have a point on them. Beat Carlisle 3-0 here last time out. Prior to that, they lost at home to Bradford, first game of the season. But I thought it was an absolute perfect performance from Bradford that day. Straight out the traps, bang, bang, scored a couple of goals. MK fought back and probably deserved to get a second, but to Bradford's credit, they defended really well. They lost a couple on the road at Salford and Colchester, but you know, they're at home. They're a different animal at home. Walsall a second. We backed the Saddlers last time. We had 2 points on them, didn't we? And they won against Cheltenham last week. My concern is the 3 victories have been against 20th place, 23rd place, 24th place. They've played a team in 8th and have lost 1-0. We all know the Dons are a top 6 side. I think MK Dons will win tomorrow. I think it's not going to say it's huge, but on a week, what we've got this week, it's absolutely monstrous. We've got to take it. Have a point on MK. Newport, Port Vale, 34-26-40. Newport are 4th at the moment. I don't understand the prices. Sorry, I don't. I don't. 6-5 about Port Vale. When I done this, I was absolutely gutted about that because I really, really fancied Newport. I mean, I'm tempted to either do Newport double chance or lay Port Vale tomorrow. I'm going to do something. It's up to you whether you want to do it. It's not going on the account, but I can't. There's not enough in Port Vale for me to give this out as an account bet. But they've beaten Doncaster here 3-1, Accrington 3-1. They've won at Morecambe. They lost at Cheltenham, first game of the season 3-2. We had 2 points on Cheltenham that day, but they've won the last 3 since. Port Vale. Again, how do you want to look at Port Vale? They've lost twice. 5th place Doncaster, 3rd place Barrow. Drawn at home to 8th place Tranmere, won at 14th place Salford. I still think Newport's form is slightly better. That if you take 6 to 5, about 6 to 4 shots, you are not going to last at this game. I'd want 7 to 4 to back Port Vale. 6 to 5, they have to be opposed somehow. It's entirely up to you how you do it. Notts County against Accrington. I think Accrington could go down this season, if I'm honest. I think the saving grace, not the saving grace, you can look at them and say the 2 defeats being against Newport and Doncaster 4th and 5th. But at home, when you're there, you've got to beat sides around you. And they've drawn at home to 15th and 16th place Colchester and Harrogate. So already you would look at Accrington and think, right, okay, where are the bulk of these points going to come from? Notts County, I don't like Notts County. I think they're massively overbet all the time. I mean, this is the other thing with Notts County, is that they out of the 4 games they've played, both teams to score has happened 3 times. So just bear that in mind if you wanted to flutter. They've beaten Grimsby at home, drawn at home with Fleetwood, drawn away at Tranmere, won away at Swindon. They're unbeaten, but they're not sides which you think Tranmere, Grimsby, Fleetwood and Swindon that are going to contest promotion. I think County are a mid-table side, and that's it. Right, so a quick refresh. We're going to have 1 point on Charlton to beat Rotherham at 13-10. In League 2, we're going to have 1 point on Harrogate to beat Cheltenham at 27-20. Swindon's tempting as well, 0.8 in it, but I won't. I'm going to bet Morecambe. You don't have to. And the other 2 bets we're having are Gillingham and MK Dons a point. So MK Dons, Gillingham, Harrogate and Charlton, they are the 4 bets this week. They've all gone to members. They're 1 point each, and as I say, the National League will be given to members later tomorrow lunchtime. Scotland over 50 and the weekly double. We'll just have a quick look. Scotland over 50 last week. There was only one, I think, with a bit of value in, and that was Celtic. There were actually 4 teams over 50 last week. There they are. So you had 3 out of the 4 wins. So any teams rated 50 and above in Scotland, there's been 35 of them, 26 have won. That's a 74.28% strike rate, a profit of 9.43 points, and a profit on investment of 26.94. That's if you're just backing them blind. If you're not backing them blind and you're just backing the over 50% with value in, this is what you've got. You've had 10 bets, 9 have won, which is absolutely incredible. It's a 90% strike rate, profit of 8.25, a profit on investment of 82.5%, which is absolutely ludicrous. There's only been one loser, look. All the rest in Scotland, teams over 50, rated over 50 with value in, have all won. It's incredible, isn't it? It really is. Weekly double and a weekly treble. We'll be back to normal next weekend. There's just been nothing where I've looked at recently and thought, well, yeah, they'll definitely win, blah, blah, blah. The 17th of August, we had Newcastle Burnley. That one was 1.03, and the same day we had a treble, Newcastle Burnley Arsenal, which was 1.43 to 1, just over 11 to 8. So we're 1.03 up on the weekly double, 1.43 on the weekly treble. But as I say, there's only been one bet on each, and sadly we've not got any Scotland's 50% this week, so they'll be back next week as well. So it's a quiet week, but members, you've got the bets now, and the National League stuff, if there's any, will be out tomorrow, but there will be an email by 12:30 at the very latest for members saying yay, there's some more bets, or no, there's nothing. That's it, guys. I'll speak to you next time. Good luck. Bye for now.